My dear students, ladies and gentlemen, my dear knowledge professionals, and my dear knowledge seekers, how are you feeling in this today's last session of knowledge management? I hope you're feeling excited. I hope you're feeling delighted. And I hope you're feeling pleased that your learning capacity is expanding and you're getting ready to deliver value wherever you are in Pakistan, in the organizations, may it be business, for profit, not for profit, and also at the same time learning how to leverage a higher market value for your personal capital. हमने लास्ट सेशन में कहा था कि फिर collectively working together, learning from Professor Peter Sanjay the idea of learning organization would certainly bring benefits and prosperity and profitability for the workers of the organization, knowledge workers, and for the investors of the organization. तो आज फिर हम लर्निंग ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को, इस मॉडल को लर्न करते हुए मैं आपसे ब्रीफली ये भी शेयर करूंगा कि another professor working at Columbia University, who is an advisor, rather let me say who was an advisor to the United Nations Secretary General, and how he thought about the future of the world and came up with the idea of the Millennium Development Goals to be achieved by 2015 by countries of the world. यानी आपको मैं इंडिविजुअल लेवल से ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल लेवल पर, and how can the whole globe can learn? Let's listen to Professor Jeffrey Sachs, and I'll mention his book which he has written, The End of Poverty at the Global Level. So are you ready then to move on to the learning journey, and the journey which Professor Peter Sanjay asks for and demands for, that every organization around the world, may it be in East or West, must try to embark upon, must try to move on and initiate upon. हमने 5 कंपोनेंट्स का जिक्र किया था. कौन से 5 थे वाला? रिकॉल कीजिए जल्दी से. The disciplines of a learning organization. पहला डिसिप्लिन क्या था? पर्सनल मास्टरी. दूसरा डिसिप्लिन मेंटल मॉडल्स. तीसरा डिसिप्लिन टीम लर्निंग. चौथा डिसिप्लिन शेयर्ड विजन. और इनमें से हर एक बाय इटसेल्फ एक डिसिप्लिन है. और 5वां डिसिप्लिन अगरचे है बहुत पुराना, इंजीनियरिंग और साइंस में मे बी 100 years old, but bringing it in management and organization, systems thinking, looking at the forest as well as the trees, looking at the cow and its systems, looking at the chicken and its eggs, how to put them together and how to look towards future. तो आइए फिर पर्सनल मास्टरी को जरा थोड़ा सा और डिटेल में देखना चाहेंगे. कुछ मैंने लास्ट टाइम आपसे शेयर किया था. आज फिर पर्सनल मास्टरी के हवाले से हाउ यू एंड मी एट द इंडिविजुअल लेवल develop those competencies and capacities and capabilities and skill set which can deliver value to the organization, and then it brings back value for me and for you at the individual level. According to Professor Peter Sanjay, these were the 5 disciplines. We were talking about the first one, personal mastery. इनका कहना यह है, why do we get, and he's raising a question, and आप देखिए कि क्या ये क्वेश्चन पाकिस्तान में भी उतना ही relevant or important or significant है. Professor Peter Sanjay says, why we get damn little of mind energy and almost nothing of the spiritual energy from the workers working in the organization. Why? Why do we get this contribution at the lowest level, especially from the young people in their 20s and 30s? आप मुझे बताइए कि फिर ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस में ये 20s and 30s के इंजीनियर्स, के प्रोफेशनल्स, सोशियोलॉजिस्ट, इकोनॉमिस्ट, साइकोलॉजिस्ट, business administrator, business manager, business leaders, marketeers, accountant, financial analyst. Why they don't want to contribute their full mind and fullest potential and the full heart? And he asks also for the spirit. And then he talks about and gives some answers. And at the first level he says that let these people of 20s and 30s, Professor Peter Drucker ने कहा था, divide these workers into two groups, plus 50s and under 50s. Professor Peter Senge more focus closely on the under 50s in 20s and 30s. How can they make their full potential, full intellectual energy, and the full emotional energy and the full spiritual energy contributed towards the benefit of the organization? May it be a public sector organization, may it be a business sector organization. इनका कहना यह है कि one must continually learn to see the current reality. Current reality पे उसकी नजर होती है. And the gap between his personal vision and the personal reality and the current reality in the organization produces a creative tension. इस इंडिविजुअल वर्कर के माइंड में एक क्रिएटिव टेंशन क्रिएट होती है. दिस इज वेयर आई एम, करंट रियलिटी. दिस इज वेयर आई वांट टू गो एट द पर्सनल लेवल. सो वी हैव प्रेजेंटली वर्किंग एट दिस लेवल in terms of learning, in terms of salary, in terms of benefits, in terms of profitability, in terms of productivity, in terms of proficiency and competency at the individual level. But this is where I want to go. And naturally, it creates a creative tension. And he says that every individual goes through this creative tension, and he wants to release this tension by raising his level up, by learning skill set, new mindset, until he reaches and achieves his personal vision. And then he creates in the future a new vision. So he says, by learning, he raises his current level to the future level. He fulfills his personal vision. और नॉलेज वर्कर खास तौर पर अपनी एक पर्सनल विजन, अपने कैरियर का प्लान, अपनी डेवलपमेंट का प्लान रखता है. इज ही राइट? इज ही टॉकिंग द राइट थिंग? आप बताइए. इट्स ट्रू. वन मस्ट लर्न टू बिकम मास्टर टू ओवरकम द रिएक्टिव टेंशन. एक तो है क्रिएटिव टेंशन, अब वो दूसरी क्या टेंशन क्रिएट कर रहा है? रिएक्टिव टेंशन. हो आई कैन नॉट अचीव दिस. Oh, maybe I am not able to do it. Oh, in Pakistan, this may not be possible. Reactive tension. तो दो टेंशन का जिक्र हो रहा है. एक है क्रिएटिव टेंशन which will pull you towards the future. लेकिन प्रोफेसर पीटर संजय का कहना यह है, at the same time there is another loop of tension which is a reactive tension, which will try to hold on you, the knowledge worker, to the current reality. Reality क्या है? हम पाकिस्तान में हैं. नहीं जी, ये तो डेवलपिंग वर्ल्ड है. ये तो यहां देखिए मुमकिन नहीं है. यहां तो पॉवर्टी बहुत है. यहां हमारा प्रॉब्लम गवर्नेंस का है. यहां करप्शन बहुत है. यहां लोग पढ़े लिखे नहीं हैं. रिएक्टिव टेंशन. So you have a choice now. Reactive tension will pull you down and keep you at the present reality. Creative tension will pull you towards the higher level, so you achieve your personal vision. So the question is, if you have courage, creativity, and innovation, you will pull your present reality and achieve your personal vision. So in other words, creative tension अच्छा, और ये देखिए, मेरे और आपके, लेडीज एंड जेंटलमैन, हर शख्स के थिंकिंग अपरेटस में ये दोनों किस्म की टेंशन हर वक्त मौजूद रहती हैं. बट इफ यू टेक दिस टेंशन विद करेज, with innovation and with creativity, you can raise your personal level and achieve your personal vision. That's what Professor Peter Senge says. हां, अगर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन उसमें हेल्पफुल हो जाए तो सोने पे सुहागा है. लेकिन उनका कहना यह है कि यह चीज हमेशा पर्सनल लेवल पर नॉलेज वर्कर्स, पीपल इन 20s and 30s, they do think about it and say it's a natural phenomena. Everybody wants to move higher and higher. So only the question is, do you overcome the reactive tension? Do you take yourself higher, move up higher towards achieving the goal, which is a creative tension? Choice is with you. Choice is with me. Choice is what kind of culture we have in the organization, what kind of culture we create. मैंने शायद पहले भी कहा था, फिर कहता हूं, people leave organizations not because of the salary or the benefit. People leave organization because of their boss. Reactive tension. हम अगर ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस में कोशिश करें टू क्रिएट द क्रिएटिव टेंशन दैट एवरीबॉडी ट्राइज टू अचीव हिज पर्सनल विजन इन द फ्यूचर, सो शी बिकम्स मास्टर ऑफ हर ओन डेस्टिनी. दैट इज व्हाट प्रोफेसर पीटर सेंजे सेज, दैट इन लर्निंग ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, पर्सनल मास्टरी एट द इंडिविजुअल लेवल शुड बी हेल्प्ड टू अचीव फॉर, शुड बी facilitated to acquire for by the organization. The discipline of personal mastery, या यूं कह लीजिए इस डिसिप्लिन के फिर सब डिसिप्लिन क्या हैं, और इसी तरह से हर डिसिप्लिन के अपने सब डिसिप्लिन है. लेकिन मैंने चूंकि आपसे प्रॉमिस किया है कि मैं पर्सनल मास्टरी, आई विल गो इनटू डिटेल, बिकॉज आई एम इंटरेस्टेड इन इंक्रीजिंग and boosting and galvanizing the personal capital of you and me, the youth of Pakistan, ladies and gentlemen. So sub-discipline of personal mastery, as mentioned by Professor Peter Senge in his book, Fifth Discipline. Number one, let everybody should have his or her own personal vision. Number two, let them hold a creative tension. Not reactive, but creative tension. Let them have a belief in the power that they are powerful. But of course, reactive tension क्या कहती है? Oh, we are powerless. We can't do it. मैंने कहा था ना, पाकिस्तान में ये तो मुमकिन ही नहीं है. यहां तो देखिए, कोई नए बिजनेस स्टार्ट करने के लिए 10 जगह पे जाना पड़ता है. यहां तो हर तरफ करप्शन है जी, काम नहीं होता है जी, लोग बड़े लेथार्जिक हैं. पावरलेसनेस ये पूरी दुनिया में है, उसके लेवल का डिफरेंस है. So my dear students, Professor Peter Senge is saying that believe in the power of powerlessness and unworthiness. हेल्पिंग वर्ड के रहने वाले हैं हमारे लोग, ये कभी सीधे नहीं होंगे. ये सब क्या है? नॉलेज है ना. You have learned this. Let's change it. How can we do that? Let's try to realize and understand what is my worth. I am worthwhile. I am a human being. I'm a proud citizen of Pakistan, capable enough, competent enough, skillful enough to produce a product, a football, a sock, a towel, a shirt, a pant, a motorcycle, a car, a fan, a motor, a food, a sweet, you name it, which is branded with Pakistan. Number 4, commitment to the whole truth. Whole truth. मैंने कहा था ना, इंडिविजुअल पार्ट्स नहीं, कहानी मुकम्मल नहीं होती. कहानी तब मुकम्मल होगी कि जब हम पार्ट्स पे भी नजर रखेंगे, होल पे भी नजर रखेंगे. कहानी तो तब मुकम्मल है. यानी अगर आप मेरे सर्कुलेटरी सिस्टम को, मेरे नर्वस सिस्टम को, मेरे किडनी के सिस्टम को, मेरे लिवर के सिस्टम को अलग अलग डिस्कस करें और मुझे एज ए होल रशीद कौसर को डिस्कस ही ना करें, ये तो ज्यादती होगी. द होल ट्रूथ इज दैट आई एम मेड अप ऑफ individual systems, and all these systems are interdependent with each other, and the truth is that all of these are related to each other. Can we have that kind of understanding, and can we have that kind of commitment to the right brain and the left brain, to the quantitative mindset and to the qualitative mindset, to the objective mindset and to the subjective mindset? The whole truth is that your whole brain is made up of two parts. The whole truth is you must think on the basis of data and information, but also at the same time you must think subjectively. Science and arts, that is the whole truth. और आखिरी सब डिसिप्लिन बड़ा इंपॉर्टेंट है, गौर से सुनिएगा, प्रोफेसर पीटर सेंजे. और आप कहेंगे कि ये एन अमेरिकन टॉकिंग ऑफ रीजन एंड इंट्यूशन, इंटीग्रेटिंग रीजन एंड रिलीजन, हाउ कैन इट्स पॉसिबल? ऑब्जेक्टिव एंड सब्जेक्टिव. ही शेयर्स अ स्टोरी एंड आई एम टेकिंग दिस स्टोरी फ्रॉम हिज बुक. स्टोरी टेलिंग, मैंने कहा था ना, स्टोरी टेलिंग इज एन इंपॉर्टेंट टेक्निक ऑफ नॉलेज मैनेजमेंट, एंड आप एंजॉय करेंगे स्टोरी को. ही सेज, Professor Peter Sanjay, engineer, a graduate of MIT, he talks about a Sufi. आप कहेंगे अमेरिका में रहने वाले भी सूफी की बात करते हैं. And I'm quoting from his book. He narrates a story which is written by a Sufi. Story ये है कि a blind man was walking in a forest. He hit something, he fell down. चूंकि रियलिटी ये थी कि आंखों से उसे नजर नहीं आ रहा. He fell down. अब रैशनैलिटी ये कहती है कि मुझे आंखों से नजर नहीं आ रहा. I can't see the word. That is logic. And if you can't see the whole word, you're a blind person. Now, when he fell down and he realized that he hit not only a tree, but he hit another man. And he asked him, "Who are you?" Usne kaha, "I'm a crippled man. I cannot walk." That is the reality. So blind man says, "I cannot see and you cannot walk. How can we get out of the forest? That's very difficult. We will die in the forest." Well, the crippled man says, "If you agree, if you allow me, I will ride on your shoulders. I'll tell you which way to walk. And this way, you and me, both together, you depend on me and I depend on you. You depend on my knowledge, my decision, and I depend your knowledge and your decision. I think we both can be out of the forest and will enjoy a happy life." The blind man said, "Fine, that's good." So, according to the Sufi story, the blind man and the crippled man together walked. Crippled man जो है वो blind man के कंधों पे चढ़ गया, वो उसको रास्ता बता रहा, और slowly and gradually they were out of the forest. They were successful. So Professor Peter Sanjay says, if you want to be successful, it's very important that you be rational. So use blind man's rationality, but crippled man's intuition. उसने कहा था ना, if you depend on me, if you believe me, that was his intuition. Let's do it together. So personal mastery requires rationality, logic and reason, intuition and religion, both together. Personal mastery is about continually clarifying our personal vision. What we see, is it sarab, is it dhokha, or is it reality? What we see, is it the whole truth? What is my personal vision? And personal mastery is an essential cornerstone of the learning organization. इसलिए कि देखिए learning organization, उसने कहा था ना कि when individuals will learn from reason and from rationality and from logic and from intuition, they will be successful. बल्कि प्रोफेसर पीटर संजय का कहना यह है कि पर्सनल मास्टरी एक्चुअली इज द स्पिरिचुअल फाउंडेशन ऑफ लर्निंग ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. अब आप कहेंगे स्पिरिट, वेस्ट, यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स, they're talking about spirit. Professor Peter Sanjay, yes. They realize when the spirit is out, it's a cage, it's a prison, it's material, it's tangible, it's lost, it deteriorates. So, spirit is intangible. और हमने कहा था ना, knowledge is intangible. Data is important. It is tangible. It comes from customer complaints. It comes from revenue of the sold product. It comes from mistakes of the machines. It comes from the bugs of the code which has been written. So tangible and intangible, that is the whole truth. Reason and intuition, that is the whole truth. Subjectivity and objectivity, that is the whole truth. Trees and the forest, that is the whole truth. And how can we become master of learning this? The roots of this discipline lie in both, according to Professor Peter Sanjay, and I'm taking from his book, from the Eastern and Western tradition, from the Japanese and the American tradition, from the West and the East. And he goes one step further. He says even in the secular tradition, people would like to learn and become master of their own destiny. Can you help them? Can you raise their spirit? Can you put a little more spirit into them so they can be more comfortable, more learnable, more knowledgeable, more resourceful for your process, for your product, for your customers? Personal mastery is about living our lives, according to Professor Peter Sanjay, in the service of our highest aspirations. When we achieve our highest aspirations, that's what he says, you are master of your own. Can the manager, can the boss, can the leader, can the CEO, can the organization, can its culture help to achieve the highest aspiration by its individual workers, especially the knowledge workers? इसलिए कि हमने कहा था ना कि नॉलेज वर्कर तो अपनी पर्सनल विजन के बारे में, अपने कैरियर डेवलपमेंट के बारे में, अपनी मास्टरी के बारे में, अपनी कॉम्पिटेंसीज के बारे में सोचता रहता है. He earns his living, she earns her living through thinking. That's what we are talking. That's what Professor Peter Sanjay is talking. चलिए जी, दूसरा डिसिप्लिन लर्निंग ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का मेंटल मॉडल. हर शख्स का अपना एक डिजाइन है, अपना एक मेंटल मॉडल है. आपका अपना, आपके साथ जो बैठे हुए उनका अपना. एक घर में रहने वाले, every brother, every sister, father and mother, each one of them have their own mental model, mental design. लेकिन working together in a family, working together in an organization, focused on the objectives of the organization, focused on the objectives of the family, अगर हर शख्स अपने मेंटल मॉडल के मुताबिक काम करेगा तो फिर तो वो जो फिजिक्स में हम पढ़ते हैं ना कि हर वेक्टर की डायरेक्शन मुख्तलिफ होगी. आप में से हर शख्स एक वेक्टर है, उसकी डायरेक्शन भी है, उसकी स्पीड भी है. बट कैन ऑल दीज वेक्टर्स बी डायरेक्टेड टुवर्ड्स वन डायरेक्शन? दे बिकम अ लेजर बीम. All the energies are aligned together. They become a laser beam. They can cut through the steel. They can cut through all the obstacles of the market. That's what Professor Peter Sanjay says, that organization's driving force an organization's fundamental value, this is the mental model. Let's bring all these models together. Let's agree to disagree. Let's put them together. And managers must learn to understand the power of patterns of thinking among the staff. Everybody thinks, has its own mental model. Question is, can you generate a common pattern of thinking among your staff? Can you develop a shared mental model? Can you come up with one product design? Can you come up with one process, the best one, which can be delivered and would be able to compete through, to cut through the competition through collaboration? That can only be done through shared vision. देखिए ना, slowly आप पर्सनल डोमेन से अब आप टीम की डोमेन की तरफ जा रहे हैं, कलेक्टिव डोमेन की तरफ जा रहे हैं. इंडिविजुअल्स गोइंग टू कलेक्टिव डोमेन. और यही हमने कहा था नॉलेज मैनेजमेंट के बारे में. यू स्टार्ट विद पर्सनल कैपिटल, you go to the organizational capital. You start with personal memory, you go to the organizational memory. Shared vision. This can only be built on the personal vision. Fatima, Ali, Rashid, Hamid, Arslan, each one of them has its own personal vision. Can we put them together and develop a shared vision? It is present when the task which follows from the vision is no longer seen by the team member as separate from the self. What is my objective of coming to this organization? What is my objective of sitting in this class and sharing my experience with you? I want you to learn, and in return you become successful, and I become successful because on the basis of your feedback, I also get an appreciation from the supplier, from the manufacturer, from the organization. Shared vision. हाँ, प्रॉब्लम उसी वक्त होता है जब हम कहते हैं, क्यों जी? What's in it for me? Why should I help him? Why should I help him to grow? मुझे इसका फायदा क्या होगा? नौशेरवा ने कहा था ना, पिछलों ने दरख्त लगाए, हमने उसका फल खाया. आज हम दरख्त लगाएंगे, कल को नेक्स्ट जनरेशन उसका फल खाएगी. शेयर्ड विजन. अगर हर आदमी सेल्फ इंटरेस्ट पे फोकस करेगा, शेयर्ड विजन नहीं होगी, लर्निंग ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का कल्चर डेवलप नहीं होगा. That can only be done through team. Let the team learn together. Team कैसे learn करती है? According to Professor Peter Sanjay, two ways. There must be a dialogue. There must be a discussion. जिस घर में, जिस ऑफिस में, जिस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में डायलॉग और डिस्कशन नहीं होती और कंस्ट्रक्टिव डायलॉग और डिस्कशन नहीं होती, वहां क्रिएटिविटी और इनोवेशन नहीं होती. स्टैटिक है, डायनेमिज्म नहीं है, ग्रोथ नहीं होगी. अच्छा, फिर ग्रोथ का भी अकॉर्डिंग टू प्रोफेसर पीटर संजय बड़ा ब्यूटीफुल मॉडल है, सिस्टम्स मॉडल. और पांचवा डिसिप्लिन सिस्टमिक थिंकिंग है. इसके बाद जो है कि यू हैव अ ग्रोथ, बट देन देयर कम्स अ टाइम यू लेवल ऑफ, एंड देन ग्रोथ इज नॉट एज यू एक्सपेक्ट. व्हाट शुड यू डू देन? वेल, लेट द टीम लर्न, जिसको फिर हम स्ट्रेटेजिक मैनेजमेंट में कहते हैं. ओके, व्हेन यू स्टार्ट फॉलिंग डाउन, कैन यू ओपन अप अ न्यू ट्रेजेक्टरी? गो ऑन फॉर अनदर 2-3 years. Okay, natural processes, you will fall down. Natural process. Everything which goes up has to come down. But Peter Sanjay says, when you level off, Gaussian curve में, जब आप पीक पे पहुंचते हैं, अब उसके बाद naturally you will fall down. If the team is learning, you are learning, you will open a new trajectory. You will continually keep on improving. Team learn through dialogue and through discussion. Dialogue is characterized by its exploratory nature. Let's have a dialogue. Let's find new things, new patterns, new thinking. Whereas discussion narrows down to a decision for a best alternative. Dialogue में new opportunities. Discussion में decision making. We put all the ideas together, discuss, come up with a solution. Both are complementary for the team's learning. अगर इंडिविजुअल डिस्कस नहीं करेंगे, अगर डिपार्टमेंट्स डिस्कस नहीं करेंगे, देखिए ना, सेल्स फोर्स कस्टमर्स का फीडबैक लेकर आई, डिजाइन वालों ने या मार्केट प्लानिंग वालों ने उनको सुना ही नहीं. इनको क्या पता है जी, हम ज्यादा बेहतर जानते हैं, हम ज्यादा एक्सपीरियंस हैं. Naturally, production will never listen if the design people are not convinced. You will ship back the same old product. Customer will not buy it. Revenue will go down. Growth will go down. Then you will realize कि क्या हो गया हमारे साथ. Team learning means we have to develop this culture. और इसीलिए फिर पांचवा डिसिप्लिन, जिसको वो कहते हैं फिफ्थ डिसिप्लिन, इनका कहना यह है कि ये डिसिप्लिन ऑलरेडी मौजूद हैं. I have put them together for the learning organization. Systems thinking, which is a conceptual framework which requires a shift of mind to see the trees and the forest. It requires to see the interrelationships and interdependencies rather than cause and effect and a linear mindset. Cause and effect and linear mindset, ये क्या होता है? Okay, बादल आएंगे, बारिश बरसाएंगे. ये तो आपने सोचा ही नहीं कि बादल भी तो किसी पे डिपेंडेंट है. वो मॉइस्चर कहां से आएगा? वो एयर विल कैरी द मॉइस्चर फ्रॉम द सीज. और ये जो बारिश बरस रही है, ये भी तो डिपेंडेंट है कि अब रिवर्स और स्ट्रीम्स के जरिए से ये पानी जो है जमीन को सैराब करता हुआ वापस समुद्र में चला जाएगा. इट्स अ साइक्लिक वर्ल्ड. अब इस साइक्लिक वर्ल्ड में से आपने बारिश और बादल को अलग कर दिया. कॉज एंड इफेक्ट. वेल, दैट्स अ लीनियर थिंकिंग. कैन यू कम अप विद अ साइक्लिक थिंकिंग? और ये साइक्लिक थिंकिंग जो है, इट्स अ ब्यूटीफुल अप्रोच. प्रोफेसर डेमिंग ने जब जापानियों को सिखाया था साइक्लिक अप्रोच, पीडीसीए या पीडीएसए, प्रोफेसर पीटर ड्रकर, same cyclic approach. Let's look at the total. System approach, input, throughput, output, linear approach. No. Let's look at the feedback. Now, feedback to the throughput, feedback to the input. In total, you will get the feedback and you will keep on making sense. Systems approach is that each unit depends on the other. सर्कुलेटरी सिस्टम में प्रॉब्लम होगा तो किडनी में भी प्रॉब्लम होगा. किडनी में प्रॉब्लम होगा तो सर्कुलेटरी सिस्टम में भी प्रॉब्लम होगा, दिमाग में भी प्रॉब्लम होगा, लिवर में भी प्रॉब्लम होगा. आप बताइए, आपके पांव की छोटी उंगली पे दर्द होता है, क्या आपके दिमाग और दिल में दर्द नहीं होता? इंटरडिपेंडेंसी. सेम इज इन द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन. अकाउंटिंग और फाइनेंस के डिपार्टमेंट में प्रॉब्लम होगा कि रेवेन्यू कम हो रहा है, तो सेल्स एंड मार्केटिंग वालों को भी उस प्रॉब्लम को फील करना चाहिए. सेल्स एंड मार्केटिंग वाले को जो प्रॉब्लम है वो प्रोडक्शन वालों को फील करना चाहिए. प्रोडक्शन वालों को जो प्रॉब्लम है वो टेक्नोलॉजी या इंजीनियरिंग या आईटी वालों को भी फील करना चाहिए. ऑल टुगेदर. सिस्टम्स अप्रोच. प्रोफेसर फॉरेस्टर at MIT, he developed a beautiful model how to solve complex problems by using systems thinking. It can help the managers to spot the ways the systems have their inbuilt limits to growth and can help them to open up with a new trajectory or a new pattern. मैंने कहा था ना, जब growth कम होने लगे, you must see how to open a new trajectory. So I will invite you to read the fifth discipline related with knowledge management and learning. And I'll invite you, maybe you can take the examples given in the field book and his website. And if you can, attend some of his training programs. Expensive हैं, खास तौर पे अगर वो प्रोफेसर पीटर संजय दे रहे हों, but really it's an eye opener. You combine the Eastern and the Western tradition, and you will see that how written very early, Muqaddimah ibn Khaldun, forward, how can coming from the East and the stories coming from the Sufis blended with the West, बल्कि मुझे कहने का मौका दीजिए कि विलेज की विजडम वेस्ट के क्यूरिकुलम के साथ अगर कंबाइन हो जाए you will have the holistic approach and the holistic learning and the holistic organization. That is what we call the learning organization. इसका मतलब ये है कि becoming a learning organization means you will create knowledge. Remember, that's what Nonaka was speaking about. ICT we're taking as an enabler, but then all these disciplines has to be present. 5 disciplines of becoming a learning organization. All right, this learning organization and the products of this learning organization, knowledgeable products, hitting the knowledge market, focusing on the strategic value. So please take a look that when you're talking about strategic value, you're speaking about the knowledge resources and the development which are based on knowledge. Short-term value में knowledge resources, best practices, learner focused, expert system focused. Long-term perspective के अंदर, can you develop a product or a service on the basis of knowledge? This means if you are focused on the markets, global markets, and especially the knowledge markets, is your business strategy aligned with the knowledge management strategy? Are you taking your knowledge as a resource? Maybe employ the resource-based theory. Now we're not talking about resources of capital or technology or labor. We're talking about knowledge as a resource. And we know that resource always depreciate in its value. So we will appreciate the value of knowledge of our employees through knowledge management and through continuous learning. So the question is, the business strategy must be aligned with the knowledge strategy. देखिए हर कंपनी की बिजनेस स्ट्रेटजी तो होती ही है. What are we doing? And what we must do? What is the gap? And how can we fill the gap? किस मार्केट को हम सर्व कर रहे हैं इस वक्त? किस मार्केट को हम सर्व करना चाहते हैं फ्यूचर में? कौन सी प्रोडक्ट लाइन अब है? कौन सी प्रोडक्ट लाइन हम नेक्स्ट ईयर, नेक्स्ट क्वार्टर ओपन करना चाहते हैं? It's a gap, and companies always look for to fill the gap through production, through technology, through transfer of technology. But the question is it aligned with the knowledge management strategy? What is the present know-how level of our organization? Because we know that know-how, experience, expertise will help us to develop innovative products. So what is the present know-how and what is the futuristic know-how? हमने कहा था ना, do you want to only become and address and exploit the present market? Or do you want to explore tomorrow's market? Or do you want to bring innovative products from the market, for the market? Choice आपके पास है. Choice कंपनी के पास है. Choice उस organization के पास है कि business strategy, if it is only to exploit the market, well, then you need the present know-how. And maybe one very fine morning, you will disappear. But if you want to explore new market, मैंने कहा था ना कि next quarter, next year, which market do you like to explore? South American, Australian, Pacific, European, South Asian, Chinese, Thailand, or maybe Central Asian. You think about it. But then, can you align this business strategy with the knowledge strategy? So when you're talking about exploring, immediately comes the role of knowledge, the role of learning. इसलिए कि exploration का तो मतलब ही ये है कि you will explore on the basis of your know-how. And the best one is, you will always stay in business innovative. So my dear students, future of knowledge management and looking at the future from the discipline itself, मैंने एक तो वो book आपको mention की थी, Creating the Discipline of Knowledge Management, and take a look on the website of the George Washington University and see how masters and PhDs are being awarded and how George Washington University advocating pillars of knowledge management, and see how it is related with learning organizations concept. They talk about technology pillar, yes, as an enabler. They talk about leadership pillar. They talk about organizational pillar, and they talk about management pillar, systems pillar. This means knowledge management will benefit from progress of ICT, and it will continue the shift towards integrating knowledge from variety of disciplines. And certainly, future is where people and advanced technology will continue to work together. ICT. And the future of KM will clearly be exciting due to the new opportunities in Pakistan and across the globe. It depends. How would you like to think? And how would you like to exploit? And how would you like to explore? And how would you like to innovate? It's your choice. Taking from the local mindset, let's look at the world as a globe and see how United Nations as a global agency is looking towards the globe and exploiting and exploring and innovating the countries around the world in terms of its goal achievement. Professor Jeffrey Sachs, an economist, worked many years at Columbia University, advisor to the Secretary General of United Nations, came up with the Millennium Development Goal. Please visit the UN website, MDG, Millennium Development Goal to be achieved by 2015. And the book which is written by Professor Jeffrey Sachs, The End of Poverty. He talks about how by 2015, they would like to achieve, UN as an agency, through differential diagnosis and through capital accumulation. और कौन से capital accumulation? Human capital, business capital, knowledge capital, natural capital, public institution capital. देखिए कितने सारे capitals की बात हो रही है. And this is Sachs model. He says, according to Professor Sachs, to achieve those Millennium Development Goals, United Nations इसको कहती है Global Compact Program. Many people take for granted that poverty and wealth are simply a reflection of society values. कि जी साउथ एशिया में रहने वाले हमेशा गरीब ही रहेंगे, अफ्रीका में रहने वाले हमेशा गरीब रहेंगे और मलेरिया की वजह से डेथ होती रहेगी. प्रोफेसर जेफरी सैक्स सेज नो, दैट इज नॉट ट्रू. इट इज हाउ यू रिफ्लेक्ट. वो कहता है जी कि जापान, एंड आई हैव टेकन फ्रॉम हिज बुक एंड ऑफ पॉवर्टी, जापान वाज व्यूड ए केस ऑफ डूम पॉवर्टी व्हेन फॉरेनर्स, स्पेशली फ्रॉम द वेस्ट, दे रीच्ड इन 1870 इन जापान. कि जापान कभी तरक्की नहीं करेगा. बल्कि ये तो अभी कल की बात है, मैं जब स्कूल में था उस वक्त की बात है. जापानी प्रोडक्ट्स को, जापानी पिर्च कप, पीपल वुड नेवर अप्रिशिएट. जापानी प्रोडक्ट नो गुड. प्रोफेसर जेफरी सैक्स सेज, Jeffrey Sachs says that foreigners were thinking of Japan as a doomed poverty. Is it so? Please have a shift of mind. Look how it's possible. He says, in the wake of 9/11, Islamic countries have been characterized and categorized to be unfit for modernization. Have a change of mind, have a shift of mind. He says, cultural interpretations on the basis of prejudice is no good. It should be on the basis of measurable evidence. That is, rationalized evidence, reason. According to Professor Sachs, he talks about enlightened globalization. And I will invite you to read his book. और बिल्कुल तकरीबन आखिरी पेजेस के अंदर रॉबर्ट कैनेडी की कोट उसने दी है. And I read from his book, quote of Robert Kennedy. It's from the numberless diverse acts of courage and belief that human history is shaped. Each time a man or a woman stands up for an ideal or acts to improve the lot of others or strike out against injustice, he or she sends out a tiny ripple of hope. Remember this tiny ripple of hope को हमने कहा था? Butterfly effect. Tiny ripple of hope. And crossing each other from a million different centers of energy and daring. Those ripples, my dear students, those ripples, according to Professor Kennedy, according to Mr. Kennedy, Robert Kennedy, those ripples build a current which can sweep down the mightiest wall of oppression and resistance. इस छोटे से करंट को आप इनसिग्निफिकेंट ना समझिए. आज अगर जो मुल्क गरीब है, करप्शन है, ये मत सोचिए कि यहां कभी वेल्थ और हेल्थ आएगी नहीं. According to Professor Sachs, he says, let the future say that we sent forth mighty currents of hope and that we work together to heal the world. That's why he brings those Millennium Development Goals. And to achieve those goals, what kind of mindset is required? Well, this is one mindset. Once again, Professor Stephen Covey, Dr. Stephen Covey talks about 7 habits of highly effective people. कबल इसके कि वो मैं आपसे शेयर करूं, what are the 7 habits of highly defective executive? Number 1, they react. Number 2, they begin with no end in mind. Number 3, जो काम पहले करना चाहिए वो सबसे आखिर में करते हैं. Number 4, they always think they'll lose. Number 5, they seek first to talk, then they show, they pretend as if they're listening. Number 6, they never cooperate. Number 7, वो खुद ही टूट जाते हैं. इसके मुकाबले में, let's use knowledge, let's use know-how, let's see how to do, what to do, let's use the skills, have the desire. प्रोफेसर सैक्स ने भी कहा, प्रोफेसर पीटर सेंजे ने भी कहा, जो मुल्क आज डेवलपिंग है, let's look at the future. Let us develop those habits of highly skilled people. कौन सी हैं वो? Number 1, be proactive. Focus on the future. Take responsibility of your personal capital and the capital of your organization. Your life and the life of the organization. Habit number 2, begin with the end in mind. पूरा नक्शा आपके सामने होना चाहिए. कौन सी स्ट्रीट, कौन सी हाईवे, कौन सी मोटरवे, कौन सी ट्रेन, कौन सी बस, कौन सी कार, कौन सा जहाज लेंगे तो आप मंजिल पर पहुंचेंगे. कितना स्लो, कितना फास्ट चलेंगे तो मंजिल करीब आएगी. Define your mission and goals. Professor Steve Covey says in his book of 7 habits of highly skilled people, habit number 3, then put first things first. Number 4, think win-win. Have the holistic approach. Everybody can win. Think of it. Have a paradigm shift in your thinking. Habit number 5, seek first to understand, then to be understood. पहले दूसरों की इज्जत कीजिए, दूसरे ममालिक की, दूसरे कल्चर्स की, दूसरी लैंग्वेजेस की, दूसरे रिलीजन्स की इज्जत कीजिए, वो आपकी इज्जत करेंगे. Number 6, synergize. Team learns, collaborate, cooperate, communicate, put them together, work them together, you will achieve. और आखिरी हैबिट, sharpen the saw. Learn, unlearn, relearn, sharpen the saw. काम करते हुए वो जो आरी या आरी का ब्लेड, उसको जंग लग जाता है, रस लग जाता है, उसको शार्प होना चाहिए. ये जो हमारे माइंड को जंग लग जाता है, we need to renew ourselves, we need to learn, we need to learn new knowledge, we need to develop our personal capital, we need to sharpen our saw so the market will pay you the best price. My dear students, with this in mind, let me share my vision of knowledge management with you. This vision for Pakistan, through you and me together as a knowledge worker, what can we achieve in 2020, by 2020? Knowledge management, Pakistani vision 2020. How to employ your knowledge. How to deploy your knowledge. Number 1, for your personal benefit. Number 2, for the organizational benefit, systems benefit, society's benefit, country's benefit. Are they aligned? Are they interdependent? Are they interconnected? Number 1, employing your knowledge, employing your know-how, employing your skill set, I expect from you and me together, all of us, those who are listening this lecture, this content, this session, can we use our knowledge? Pakistanis, youth, 20s and 30s, managers, executives, sociologists, psychologists, journalists, media specialists, creative artists, all of them who can use technology, who are knowledge worker. Can we alleviate poverty in Pakistan on the basis of knowledge and know-how? Think of it. How can we do it? Can we employ knowledge? It's a vision. It's a personal vision. And that is what becomes organizational vision or country's vision. Can we use knowledge and manage our knowledge to end corruption through Pak antibodies. Please don't say it's not possible. Countries have shown things are possible. Number 3, can we raise, by employing our knowledge, performance in the outcomes, whatever we do, in whichever sector, whatever office, whatever company, we deliver our services. And number 4, by employing and deploying your learning and knowledge, can we increase public capital by galvanizing the Pak people. Remember I shared with you, we are the 7th nation in the world in terms of human resource. Can we increase the public capital by galvanizing? कुछ एक जज्बे और जुस्तजू की आग लगा दी जाए कि जिसमें से लाइट निकले और सब लोग रास्ता देखते हुए फ्यूचर में एक मॉडर्न पाकिस्तान, एक डेवलप्ड पाकिस्तान की शक्ल में वर्ल्ड के ग्लोब पर आए. और आखिरी विजन के तौर पर, देखिए विजन तो फ्यूचर में ही होती है, एंड आई वुड लाइक टू achieve this vision through you, by working with you, future managers and future executives of Pakistan, to integrate, my dear students, my dear professionals, my dear knowledge seekers, to integrate, to blend reason and religion together, reason and intuition together, quantitative and qualitative mindset together, objectivity and subjectivity. That is what Professor Peter Sanjay was saying, whole truth. By combining the right brain and the left brain. Don't you think it's possible? I think it's possible. Let's work together for this beautiful country of ours. Let's have the higher innovative capital. Let's have a higher creative capital, a higher personal capital, and a higher knowledge capital, so that the intellectual capital of Pakistan and the public capital of Pakistan could be no less than any country of the world. I hope we can work together and it's achievable. Thank you very much for your attention, and thank you very much for your learning, and thank you very much for giving me that I put and present my desire. Some I did in the first session, and some vision which I shared with you in the last session. And remember, I said, idea brings money. Money does not bring idea. Use your personal capital for the organizational capital and manage your intangible and tangible knowledge resources, that we survive and we thrive for the years to come. Thank you very much once again. So nice of you, and so nice of knowing, and so nice of relating with you. Khuda Hafiz and Assalamu Alaikum.